Hello and welcome back to the Digital Marketing Podcast brought to you by targetinternet.com. My name is Kieran Rogers,
And I'm Daniel Rolls.
and today we have a ChatGPT for marketing update.
Before we get into it, we've got a load of new features that have rolled out in the last couple of days. So we're trying to get this out as quickly as possible.
It's
So
kept
you
you
can kind of get
busy.
a feeling. It has, but it's fascinating me because it's changing at such a pace. I think there's a couple of ways of thinking about this. First of all, there's this first lead advantage. Like if you're on these tools, you're learning the latest stuff, you can then start doing things more effectively, more efficiently than your competitors, getting stuff out there, and that can work really well. But then eventually they're going to kind of latch onto these things as well. So then it's about how do we bake this into our working processes? How do we bake this into our tech stack and everything else and technology and tools that we're using on a day by day? But eventually it gets to the point where everyone's got access to these tools. Everyone's kind of caught up with these tools and they're all utilizing them. So then it's got to be additive. It's like, what do we do that's new? How can we do something completely different? And I had a bit of a wake up moment. I've been kind of staying on top of these tools, and lots of people, when you show them at a conference, because they've not been staying on top of it, they're like, you show them a deep fake of a video, a deep fake of a voice or something, and they're like, oh, wow, this is pretty scary stuff. But when you're looking at it all the time, you're kind of getting used to it. And I applied for the beta test of a tool called Manus. So if you search Manus, you'll find it. There's like kind of a waiting list to access it. But it's a kind of more agent-based AI, but it's able to do things like create files. And it works in a completely different way. So it can create JavaScript and interactive tools and all sorts of really clever things. So there's lots of different ways of doing that. And you could have done that anyway. But it literally gave it a kind of 2-sentence prompt. And it created this completely standalone interactive piece of content. But I pointed at the website just to say, take the branding from this website. And it had done all of that stuff. And it was a bit of a wake up moment for me of like, oh, wow, this is additive. We can do new stuff now that we just wouldn't have really been able to done before. So I'm pretty excited about that. But what I wanted to talk about today is 4 or 5 new features within ChatGPT. And what fascinates me is that one of our last episodes was a tools and tips. And Kieran's kind of go-to tool was FreePick. And FreePick has got a number of different models, right, Kieran?
Yep.
And it allows you to, and it was your big problem, I seem to remember, was getting text over the top of images and doing it repeatedly and accurately and effectively.
Yeah,
And also you wanted a gold coin that looked realistic. It didn't look like a silly kind
I
of plastic
did.
thing.
Yeah.
Okay. So suddenly they've rolled out into ChatGPT. And if you haven't played with it yet, it was literally 2-3 days ago, the 4.0 for Omni image generation, completely new image model. But the idea they're talking about is this is useful image generation. So before you could do wild and wacky stuff, you could add some text, but it wasn't incredibly good. Now it can do some things that are mind-boggling. The text accuracy is off the charts. You can give it a whole infographic worth of text, and it will factor that in. But also, you can give it instructions describing up to 20 different objects and how they should interact, and it will do that really effectively as well. It's also multi-turn generation. So you get it to generate something, and you go, well, no, do it like this, turn it into this. So what you can do is, what you were talking about, Kieran, is like create a character and then have that character consistently through different kind of wireframes or a comic strip or anything else that you'd like to kind of create as well. And this is the exciting bit, I think, for marketing, which is the in-context learning, which basically, I tried this out. I gave it 6 different brand images of ours, which is we've got a load of brand colors, we've got a brand font, but we've also got these shapes that we use. And there's various different shapes that we use in kind of combination. And then I said, create me an ad with this wording on it, using these colors, these shapes, and this brand styling. And I looked at it and it was absolutely spot on. Now, the first thing that Kieran asked me was, did our managing director have a look at it? And did she think it was on brand? Because she is the brand fascist is the wrong word. Brand advocate, I would say, that is a fair word. And basically, she saw it and went, that's spot on. I think you could change this little bit on the font, but otherwise it was pretty spot on. So to pass that test is incredible.
Nothing I did ever got that response from Susanna, ever.
Yeah, and that was even without doing it AI-wise.
Yeah, I know, right? It's already surpassed Kieran.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not such a big leap, if we're honest.
My favorite thing about this was like, look, it's much better at photorealism. It's really good at doing styles. So you can do a load of stuff with that. But the world knowledge piece is amazing. So the example they gave is that somebody had gone in and said, show the four most popular cocktails in this region, put their recipes onto little cards, and then lean those cards against an image of that actual cocktail. And it outputted it perfectly. So it's just off the charts better than it was. You can do on-brand stuff. Text is perfect. So for marketers, social media posts, creating images for blogs, it's really good for that kind of stuff. But then the nice piece is you've got this ability to select an area and edit like you have in Photoshop. So you click on the image it's generated, you kind of shade that part of it and say, add this or remove this, whatever it might be. So you can really generate interactively. Now, the most incredible moment I had with this is it went live last week and I was teaching at Imperial College. And we had a load of people on this executive education program. And essentially what we did is we uploaded the group photo. And I said, take this photo and put them on a beach. Now, what it won't do is take in a photo that you've given it of a face and then do something to that. It's a real safety feature because otherwise you could manipulate pictures of other people. But what it did is it created kind of alternative reality versions of each of these people.
Nice.
It put them onto a beach. But then before I did that, I just uploaded the image and it said, oh, this looks like this is a group of people standing in front of the Royal Albert Hall. So it identified what was in the background. It looks like it could be some sort of educational group. There's no other indication, but based on its close location to Imperial College, this could be something to do with Imperial College. So the context of looking at what's in an image and processing it and understanding it has gone off the charts as well. And then we had some fun manipulating the image and kind of doing some fun with things with it. You could then also then put that into Sora and make a video of it and various other things. And Sora has rolled out in the UK now, by the way, if you haven't noticed. If you're in the UK and the EU, it has rolled out in all those places, the video platform. So big step forward. Suddenly we're getting to the point where creating branded content is possible. And this is something that we've been needing in the marketing. Then if you combine that with a couple of other features they've released, ChatGPT Task. Have you played around with this at all, Kieran?
No, I don't know that I've got access to it yet.
So what's happened? Well, it's kind of weird because it's in the drop-down menu, but then there's not an easy way of getting to see what your existing tasks are. So if you go to gpt.com/tasks, you can see what you've got set up. But for example, I can say to it, please go off and create me 4 news stories on the latest digital marketing trends and changes, but source them from these 10 websites and write it in 300 words and do it at 9 a.m. on a Friday morning. It will then schedule it and it will update that task at that time every week. So suddenly, creating our news updates, it's giving me a source to go to and I can kind of go through and do that and so on as well. And then the other piece is that they've just rolled out to the Plus and the Teams account is the deep research. And this is a bit of a mind boggler because the deep research is going through its multi-step research. So say you get it to write an article on the latest trends in SEO. It will start by asking you a whole series of questions about what you really want to get from this piece of research, who's it for, how should it be laid out, and all those kind of things. And it will go off and start doing the research. And then based on what it finds, it will go off and do other layers of research. Well, I need to go and look this up then. And based on this, I'll need to start thinking about this. And what you get back is something that if you were going to publish an article, it's a much better place to start. Now, on the paid for accounts, on Plus and the Teams accounts, you get 10 of these a month because it uses a lot of processing time to go through and do it. But actually, it's kind of phenomenal for doing those things as well. So if you suddenly start layering a few of these things together, the ability to generate amazing images, the ability to schedule tasks, the ability to deep dive into a research topic, and you think about what marketers are doing, there's a lot of ability to use these things. But the same old risks are there that, if everyone's doing this and everyone's doing it badly, it's not going to be a good thing at all. Now, you said something to me that amazed me earlier on.
Mm-hmm.
You said to me, you know how kind of cynical you were of AI. How are you feeling about it now?
I don't know if I'm ready to share this with the world. I'm going to have to, aren't I? Okay, drum roll, please. I don't think I could cope without it.
And has it just become part of your everyday workflow?
It's just part of my everyday workflow, just because I get so much more done with it. Like, I suppose, I don't have a huge team to pull on. Like, the buck stops with me. I'm the go-to guy that people come to fix things. And it can be anything. But these tools, they're game changing. So, when I work for big brands, you have big teams that do everything. You've got copywriters, you've got, database people, you've got CRM people, you've got email specialists, and it's lovely. But when you don't have that, when it's just you, what I'm finding is that actually with the knowledge that I have over, many years of dabbling in lots and lots of different areas, you kind of do inevitably become a jack of all trades, but a
Right.
master of none, right? But actually, if you know what it is you want and you know how to ask it, it'll deliver for you. That's the thing. And so I mean, I use it for all sorts. I've used it a lot for image creation. I regularly come unstuck with creating, very attractive models with six fingers. It's not
Yeah,
giving.
this new photo image generation has gone beyond that now. They're
I'm
doing some
really
amazing
excited
stuff.
about that. That's a game changer. I mean, it honestly, I've just been playing around with it while you've been talking. Couldn't help myself because like, oh, it really does that. So just before we got recording, I was showing Daniel a website that I'd built in next to no time using AI. Well,
You
I'd
literally just launched it.
literally just launched it this afternoon, and I'd used AI to create the logo, and no one had noticed that I'd spelt the brand name wrong.
Did you spell it wrong, or did it hallucinate and do
No,
it?
it hallucinated wrong. So the logo
Right.
that I've popped in there, and we've done this in a rush. It had to be up like yesterday, so no one had spotted it because it looks about right. Like it was missing there were two L's. It only had one, and at first glance you just don't notice things like that. So before we hit record, I was hurriedly rebuilding it in Photoshop and putting the right text in. I didn't need to do that because actually, while you were just giving that intro, I
Just
gave
scratch it.
ChatGPT 4.0 the logo and said, "Correct this for me with the correct font," and it's done it. And I'm blown away.
Yeah, it is a real
It's
game
really
changer. The
good.
branding and the consistency is
Yeah,
what's really important. So
really,
that's
really
great.
good.
So there you go. You're loving all this stuff now, right? You're going to love this one even more then. So something they launched today was internal knowledge. They're rolling it out. So you can do this on the Teams accounts at the moment. I think it's going to roll out to the Plus accounts. Obviously, most of this stuff ends up in the free accounts as well. But what the first connector they've got, so allowing you to connect to external tools and use those as a knowledge base. And the first one they've done is Google Drive. So the thing is, you can put stuff into your Google Drive, and you can always import stuff in your Google Drive before, but this makes it your actual knowledge base. And it's saying it can look at PDFs, plain text files. It's a little bit limited, but it can use Google Sheets and Excel files, Word documents, Google Docs, Google Slides, PowerPoint, not the images within those documents, but that will be your knowledge base. And then you can upload a load of files and you can query them, but it will know this stuff. So it suddenly means that you can really personalize the results you're getting. But what's interesting is that it's permissions based. So say that we've got 10 of us and we've all got a shared Google Drive. Your ChatGPT will only have access to the stuff that you've got access to. So you might ask it a question, Kieran, and I would get a different answer to what answer you got because it's got different knowledge based on the administrator rights of the different documents in there as well. So that's quite powerful. But I'm really interested in is they're working on CRM connectors and various other things. So you'll be able to go in and connect to other external tools and say, okay, who are our most profitable customers? What type of people are most profitable customers? And it will be able to go and pull that data and manipulate it and so on as well. And I think we're very much getting into self-service data all of a sudden, which is what a lot of organizations are looking for. Look, we've got all these reports online and all the analytics, but if you could connect this up to Google Analytics and ask it questions, hugely kind of powerful option to this as well. And if you think about it from a business point of view, it makes an awful lot of sense for them to be the kind of heart of everything you're doing. You interface with ChatGPT or any of the other generative AI tools, but that interfaces with all the other tools and platforms and content you're using. And you're asking, when's the next slot in my diary? Then could you put something in my diary just here, please? And you go through it. And where are you? You're kind of at the kind of personal assistant Jarvis out of the Marvel films. And, this agent you can talk to that can actually do real well things for you. And which takes us to our last quick point in this session, which is there is a beta of this running. You only get it if you've got a pro account. Now, I'm getting more sorely tempted to get a pro account. It's $200 a month, but you get a lot of the features early. And the thing they're rolling out is this agent with a browser that can carry out tasks. And it's called Operator at the moment. And what this allows you to do is you'd say, okay, go to this particular place. So Kieran's off to Brighton SEO next week, I believe.
Yep.
And you were looking at some camping sites and things, right? And you asked ChatGPT to find one. Explain what you were trying to brief it to do.
So I'm tight with money. I think it comes from working for a non-profit for years. I hate spending money on hotels.
But you also
and
love
things.
camping and all that.
And I love camping.
I think it's more that as
Yeah,
well.
it is.
You
I do
always
love
say your
camping.
type. I don't think it is that.
Yeah. And I do you know what it is? I just can't bear to go somewhere where there are that many homeless people and spend £150 a night on a hotel. It would just upset me. So I sleep rough. And that absolves my conscience a little bit. But no, I have a lot of very lightweight camping stuff, and I'm always looking for ways to like stretch my legs in the lightweight camping. So I decided, no, I'm gonna backpack my backpack for 3 days. I need a campsite that's near a train station that will get me to Brighton quickly, and it found me one. Like
Right.
it,
So
yeah,
that's the current ChatGPT look of it. Well, this could do, you could ask it to do that and then say, and then go to the website and book it for me.
yeah.
And it would actually be able to navigate through the website to fill the form, and it would know all your details. It would be able to go through and do that. Now, it's an early test of this, but I've seen a load of examples, and it's epic because you can teach it your preferences, like saying, well, I like B rates, but I want flexible rates because I like to change my mind during my journeys and maybe travel somewhere else as well. I need somewhere that's got, laundry facility, whatever. And you give it all those criteria, and you don't need to tell it that every time. It will learn. Now, the idea of it being able to navigate a website is quite incredible, but in action, it's amazing because when it makes a mistake, it kind of learns and tries to work out an alternative way of doing things as you go through as well. So, the whole idea of captures, well, this is just, we heard the story before, like that, oh, these tools could fill in a capture. Well, absolutely they can now because it's designed to do this stuff now. So all sorts of things going to happen that are useful, and all sorts of weird, crazy, fraudulent stuff's going to potentially happen as well.
I hit a new capture I'd not seen before. It was a Microsoft one, and I had to
Place the right way up.
No, it wasn't even that. I
Oh.
had to place a character in the right theatre seat, and it blew my mind. I really struggled with it. And every time you got one wrong, it would make you do the whole test again, but add a question to it. And I think
Oh,
I
that's
had to
awful.
go.
That's
I
not a
had to
good
go
user
through
experience.
8 in the end because I kept on getting it. I don't know what was going on. I'm like, I put it in the right place, and it thinks it's in the wrong one. Anyway, we did get there eventually.
And I think the problem is that they're only going to get worse and worse because these
Yeah.
tools will get better and better.
Do you know what? After 20 minutes, do you know what it said? Congratulations, you are human. It's like, nice.
Yeah, it took me that long to prove though, sadly. So look, if you look at this, I started off I was a bit shocked about this mana stuff and what it was capable of doing. Then you look at this image generation stuff with the new model within ChatGPT. You've got tasks for scheduling, you've got deep research. You can then connect this to a kind of knowledge base. And then we're seeing these kind of agent-based approaches as well. But this one, they can actually use a browser, they can create code and they can deploy it and those kind of things.
Mm-hmm.
This is accelerating. And we're really on the cusp of something very interesting, I think, here. Interesting bad and interesting very good at the same time, which I think just means that culture of learning, of staying on top of this becomes incredibly important. Now, one thing I would say as well.
What do you do when work colleagues you love and respect who've worked their fingers to the bone suddenly are redundant? Because I'm sorry, what you do is just quicker, easier, and cheaper to get a machine to do it. Like that's where we're at. That is where we're at right now. And I think it is a tricky one. And I don't know what the answer is.
The answer is pretty clear to me. The answer is that when the Industrial Revolution came along and we automated things, then you didn't go, well, I'm going to continue doing it with this way because it'll be slower, it'll be ineffective, and you're just going to price yourself out of the market. So the market has to change. But people got new jobs doing new things. The problem was if you're a Luddite and you decide, I am not going to adopt this technology, then you've got a problem. Now, don't get me wrong. There is always, I think, going to be, I hope, a place in the world for traditional crafts and traditional ways of doing things and going back. If you talk about mass industrialized farming, that's not a great thing, right, necessarily. So you can use these technologies in brilliant ways, but you can also use them in pretty shocking ways. And they do have knock-on social impacts. So we're heading very much into that kind of period where this is going to accelerate. And I always give the example of driverless cars. Once they're great, every Uber driver is basically out of a job. And it's about transferable skills at that point.
The problem, though, is historically these things have come along like one big change. And this isn't one big change. This is hundreds. So we're not talking about one career line that just kind of ends quite quickly. There's lots. If I'm in graphic design, I'm worried. If I'm a PA, I'm really worried.
If I'm a marketer, you should be worried as well.
I'm a marketer.
But I think
I'm worried.
It's about adopting it and adapting to it.
Yes, but what you'll have, it will be very much survival of the fittest. And so the people that are able to adapt and adjust to these tools, they become pivotal. But we now no longer need a marketing team with lots and lots of people in it. That's where I see this going quite quickly.
Yeah, and I think there's that whole point of if you can say, here's our brand guidelines, here's our existing content. These are, you can quite quickly see where this is going from that point of view as well. So I'm actually really excited. There's a load of tools here that I'm going, how can we bake this into what we're doing? The fear is that you're forever trying to rebake things. So I had a great meeting yesterday. So I met up with Peter Abrams, give a shout out to him. So Peter was one of the founders of eConsultancy. He now runs an amazing organization called Crank, who help lots of businesses deal with their kind of data for e-commerce and things like that. And he's using all these tools and he's spinning off tools and then getting it to develop them and then actually deploying them and then putting them onto a server and making them live. And it's putting all the code into GitHub and it's updating it and all this kind of stuff. And he was doing it live in front of me. And the thing we were discussing is that's amazing. But if you're not careful, you spend your whole life going, oh, this is an exciting tool. I'm going to fiddle around with this, but I'm going to fiddle around. And you just end up going in a black hole and you don't actually get any work done.
Mm-hmm.
So, is it increasing your productivity or is it not? If your job's to come on podcasts and talk about the latest tools, that's great. If you've got a job to get done, is it getting in the way? Is it helping you? And that's the balance to find. And I don't think there's a balance there because I spend all day, every day trying to stay up to date with this stuff and I'm not managing it. There's always something that I miss or something else. So getting comfortable with uncertainty and operating in an environment that you don't know everything about is going to become really important. So those problem-solving skills go, okay, here's the problem. What's the most efficient way of solving it? We all get used to working in certain fixed ways, and actually that's going to have to change.
We've been saying for years this was coming, haven't we? That the pace of change is going to accelerate. And, I've probably been saying that for the last 10 years, but I'm only now seeing it accelerate.
Really, it actually feels like it looks like.
Yeah, I think so. And I guess, do you know what? It's interesting. These things go in cycles. And the immediate cycle, which a lot of you are probably all feeling right now, is fear.
No, it's overwhelm as well.
And overwhelm. But look at the tools objectively and get your heads around them and think about how, as an organization, do you to succeed and win in an environment like this? That's the key. That's what marketers have always done, isn't it? I think that's
and I think what's key to that, and I would do because I'm in a training company, but I think that actually culture of learning, you have to put some time into this every week. You have to work, even if it's just listening to a podcast or watching a YouTube channel or something, but it's actually saying, we need to stay on top of it. And then it's like, okay, let's have an innovation process, test, learn, built into what we're doing on a regular basis. And otherwise, you're just not going to get there. So you're into a load of digital transformation stuff. I will also put the link into we've got a load of guides on digital transformation and design thinking sprints and things like that. They're all wildly useful for trying to bake this stuff into what you're doing as well.
Do we have any workshops coming up, Daniel, where you spill the beans on all this new, sexy, exciting stuff?
Yeah, it's a good point. So we are still doing our half day every month masterclasses and our 1 hour update sessions. I literally this morning had a Google Analytics 4 session, an updated Google Analytics 4 session. So we had a load of the members along for that. So we have got a generative AI one that do regularly, and that's constantly updated. And it lists all these tools and shows you what they are. But we did our first advanced prompting one the other day as well. And we've got that being repeated, and that's updated on every delivery. And what we're finding is a lot of people are attending, even if we repeat them, they're attending multiple times because it's all a part of your membership. So for your £20 a month, you get access to all our online stuff, but also these half-day masterclasses. And it's super nice because it's lots of people coming together, kind of getting to know each other as well. So there's a real good kind of community behind that as well. So have a look on targetinternet.com/live and you'll see all of the live sessions. If you are a member, you can go through and book yourself into all of those as well. So we will be back to you again very soon with more updates on this stuff, but we wanted to get a quick episode in just to give you an update on this. Tell us how you're getting on with it. Tell us how you're feeling. If you haven't subscribed to the newsletter, targetinternet.com/newsletter, we're pointing out lots of in-between bits as we're going through this via that as well. But you can reply to those emails and we always read them and we always get that feedback.
I loved the guy. He wrote in and said, I have to know, what was the accident Kieran had with a pickled onion at Christmas? I'm very invested in this. And you should all know he's the only person that asked. And he got a full-on story from me. I felt it was justified. Did you share it with him?
Yeah, when I emailed him, I said, here's the full story. Thank you for being so invested into it.
Yeah.
And then at the bottom of it, I said, thanks very much. You won't get that 5 minutes of your life back. Thanks for listening. But that was, there was a personal interest there.
Yeah, I know.
So that was quite important. We had a lovely thing on the masterclass today. We had loads of people and I said, of everyone here, how many of you listen to the podcast?
Yeah.
And it's 3/4 of the people that are attending and listening to the podcast. So there's loads of podcast listeners in there. And then someone very nicely said, oh, this is my first one. I'm feeling quite in awe of seeing you face to face. I was like, well, you'll soon overcome that. Don't worry.
I felt the same when I first met you, because I've been listening to you for about 4 or 5 years before I met you.
Well, it's so funny, was it? Because you build a bit of a connection with someone
I
on a
bought
podcast.
I bought an iPod purely so I didn't have to burn you onto CD to listen to in the car. That's how long ago
we
this
are.
was. Yeah, I know, right?
That's amazing. I remember the device that you had as well. Wasn't there a cassette player that you had that inserted in and that connected up to an MP3 player at one point as well?
Yeah.
Old school. Anyway, enough of our old age. For more episodes, resources, to leave a review or to get in contact, go to targetinternet.com/podcast.